Hello everyone, Sergi here and welcome to the first AOR rFactor 2 League video around Hungarian track of Hungaroring. I've taken this video style idea from Jeroen Wakel, so just giving a bit of credit to him. Basically here we're gonna be covering some of my highlights of the Hungary Grand Prix, which is the 8th race of the season of the AOR rFactor 2 Season 2 Championship. So to put you a bit into perspective of how's the season going, here's the driver standings before this race. As you can see, we're currently on second place, 23 points behind the leader Craig Baxter and 28 points in front of Philip Kraus. I would say that these two guys are our main rivals on the championship, but we also want to keep an eye on Sam Carpenter and Kieran Chadwick because they've been up there for quite a while, a lot of races, so I would say that these four guys and me are the ones that can challenge for wins, which is our target on every race. So we're gonna commentate a bit really fast the results of the season until now. We got two victories around Bahrain and Silverstone, both on a one stop. We have three second places, one of them on China, which wasn't fair at some technical issues after having a comfortable lead. And then on Baku we made some setup mistakes as well on Hockenheim, although on Hockenheim we managed to be pretty close to the winner. So also on Baku we made a couple of mistakes, which it's totally fair to finish P7 after all. So here's our fastest Q1 lap. I was totally aware of that carving there, but I just expected him to finish at the quali lap and escape, but he didn't do so. So I just had to eventually avoid him. When I was really focused on upshifting at the proper time, so I wasn't really focusing up front. So it was a bit of a close moment. And it is a 1.15.568, which is enough for P2, which is enough to make it to Q2. So far, so good. And here you can see the results of qualifying one. Kieran, Sergi, Philip, Craig, Sam, Brandon, Jukka-Pekka, Danov, Matthew and Mac are the ones who make it to Q2. Unluckily our teammate Tom is on P11, just not enough to make it to the next session. And we're starting now our qualifying 2 lap. This was the fastest lap, with this sudden oversteer moment, which clearly doesn't help on Sector 1, but let's see how it goes. And it's gonna be a 1.15.211, which is more than enough for pole position as the cars behind qualified on super soft tires and we did it on ultra soft. Let's see how that strategy plays out on the race. So while we are watching on the background the formation lap, we're gonna go through the grid. So on P1 we have ourselves, Sergi Heras, 4/10 margin, which is understandable. Now I will explain why. On second place we have Philip Kraus, third Kieran Chadwick, fourth our main championship rival Craig Baxter, fifth Sam Carpenter, sixth Brandon O'Haley, seventh Jukka-Pekka Lalu, eighth Danov Rantlum, ninth Max Shefford, and 10th Matthew Clip. And why did we manage to get that 4/10 gap? And I still believe our lap wasn't the best. We could have done even better. Because ourselves and Jukka-Pekka Lalu were the only ones to qualify on ultra soft tires, while the rest qualified on super softs. This race, the available tires were ultra soft, super soft, and softs. So the ultra softs are not like very good on the race. That's why I guess the other drivers decided to qualify on super softs. But I still had faith to complete the race and had good pace with a stint on the ultras. So that's why I took that approach. And we skip back to the grid. One light, two lights, 3, 4, 5. And it's lights out and away we go. We have a pretty decent start, so does Phil Kraus just behind us. Although we have quite a comfortable lead. But we decide to just give it a bit of room on the inside because he will have a bad exit of the corner, as you can see. So we can have the inside on turn 3. Trusting him, but I don't know if we can trust him anymore because he just hits us on turn 3. But whatever, the car was fine, so we just keep going. And our main focus right now is try to not wear much the tires, just enough to open that 1 second gap to break the DRS, and we have 3 laps to do that. Let's see if we can manage to do that within the first 3 laps. We're almost already on the 3rd sector now. And once we can see right now that we already opened just a bit of gap. It's probably not enough yet, but it's only lap 1. So let's see now when we cross the start finish line, what's the gap between us and Philip Kraus. And it's almost 7/10 already. So it's looking good to open that gap, extend that gap to 1 second or more than 1 second in the next 2 laps. We're just trying to drive really smooth, but at the same time just pushing a little bit more than what we would like at the moment, because ultra soft tires don't really like that. And you will see at the end of the stint why they don't really like that. But at the moment we're comfortably leading. So let's see if we manage on the first 2 laps to open that 1 second gap. It's looking promising after having a 7/10 lead after the first lap. So we're finishing here again, 2nd sector, and it's only the 3rd sector remaining. To see what's the gap after 2 laps of the race. Meanwhile behind I think they are keeping it quite peacefully, let's say. They are not battling yet. Yeah, they are opening just a tiny gap, not enough to break the DRS, but we're just almost breaking the DRS when we're starting lap 3. So that's very good news, 0.987. Which is almost 1 second. We just need a little bit more, and then we can just focus on tires. And of course, besides focusing on having good tire wear. Do not forget that the cars behind are gonna push to get that 1 second gap down so they can have DRS with me. So while we are trying to not over push the car, we are at the same time trying to extend just a tiny bit more that gap to be safe for the rest of the stint, as we're on board now with Phil Kraus. And we can see that apparently we already broke that 1 second gap. We will confirm that after lap 3 when we finish this lap. But apparently there's, as you can see here now, the TV cam, it's quite clearly that we already have that 1 second gap. But they don't, the guys behind me, so we're gonna see how they are opening now DRS. As you can see, Craig Baxter opening now DRS. And we're 1.444 ahead of Phil Kraus. So it's looking pretty good. But are we going to be able to maintain that 1 second gap for the rest of the stint? Because the crossover between ultra soft and super soft tires, I guess it will be around lap 5, lap 6. So since those laps, we're gonna start losing a bit of time. Hopefully we don't, and we saved enough tire wear to keep that gap, but we'll see now. So we skip right away to ending lap 10. And let's see now what's the gap when we cross the start-finish line. I believe it's gonna be pretty close to 1 second, but maybe we'll still manage to avoid giving the DRS to the car behind. Let's see right now. Yes, and it's just about 1.1 seconds ahead of Phil Kraus. As we're seeing that train that's forming right behind us. But it's at the moment it's all going perfectly, you know? Like, it's impossible to pull away more with these ultra soft tires. But at the same time, it's just enough to avoid giving DRS to the cars behind, which is what we obviously don't want. As we can see on the top left of the screen now, the not very good consistency that these tires have. Like, we made a 0.2, 0.3, 0.6, and then we dropped to the 21s, besides lap 8 of the stint. And this last lap 10 of the stint, which is the penultimate lap of the stint, because this is the in lap, we're gonna pit this lap. As you can see, that's smoking the tire because we're just pushing a bit more because we're pitting now. The consistency is not really there. We pushed just enough on the first laps, and then we had to try to keep that 21.0 pace as we kind of did until lap 10. As we head into the pits, but because the other ones are on super softs, they are gonna continue on track, which means that we are gonna potentially undercut them. And let's see if we don't have traffic exiting the pits, because that would be dreadful for our race. And yes, this is all good news. We're on clean air. We have a guy behind us, but I don't think he's gonna catch us, so everything's going to plan right now. So we'll just try to do these out-laps like the first laps on the ultra softs. Just pushing a bit, but not over pushing the car, you know? Like, just pushing just a bit more than you would push if you wanted to do a very consistent lap times through the whole stint, which we will see later if we manage to do that. And also secure the undercut, because the other three cars that were right behind us are at the moment on worn super soft tires, and we are on fresh soft tires. So we potentially should undercut them, but we'll see now the gap when we cross the start-finish line. Hopefully it's not gonna be, hopefully we are not gonna lose time. I remember that the pit window delta was around 16, 17 seconds. So yeah, we didn't see the gap yet this lap. We're gonna see it next lap, I guess. So as we can see right now that this is going perfectly. These three guys are battling, so they are losing even more time, while we are just driving consistently on our own, which is exactly what you want if you want to have an undercut on some guys. Make them fight on track and just do your own thing on the track without having any distractions or any battles. As you can see, this is really close battling with Phil and Kieran. And meanwhile, Craig Baxter opens quite a big gap with them. As we're on board with Phil Kraus right now. He could have gone that P1 after turn 1, but I think we did the best we could to avoid that, and we accomplished it, so far so good. As Kieran Chadwick and Phil Kraus head into the pits, and we're just right behind them. Let's see now the gap with Craig Baxter, but yes, it's 9.4 seconds, which means that we made an undercut worth of around 5 seconds maybe? I don't know. Phil was the one behind us when we pitted, but still, I think we undercut around 5 or even 6 seconds, which is a huge undercut. But besides that, now we need to see if they are able to close that gap during the stint, or we are able to manage that gap and keep it there. As we see that Craig Baxter on his probably in lap is struggling quite a lot with those worn super soft tires. So he might even lose position with Kieran and Phil Kraus. We'll see it when the next lap starts. As we're just trying to do that, what I said before, just keep it consistent, keep it within the white lines, and not forget that you have your competitors behind you, but at this stage we know that we opened a big enough gap to be comfortable driving and smoothly driving during the whole stint. So that's just what we are trying to do at the moment. As we're gonna see now when here we are on P1, and it's a huge gap within P2 and P3. Well, we're showing what now as P2 because the start finish line is sooner when you pit, so. But anyways, we are 7.8 seconds in front of Kieran Chadwick, and this battling continues. This is just perfect. We not only did an undercut worth of 6 seconds, maybe 7 seconds, but besides that, they are still battling between them, which is it's just perfect for our strategy. See how smooth we try to take those fast corners so we don't overheat front tires and don't spin with the rear tires? As we skip to lap 26 of the stint, because there is not much to show within those laps, it was just driving consistently and taking care of the tires, hitting decent lap times but similar lap times every lap, so there's not much to show there. As we are gonna show this lap, and you're gonna see why right now. Well, not right now, but when we finish the lap. And something's gonna happen. Not to me, but something's gonna happen. At this stage, we didn't know the strategy of the other drivers. We expected that if we had a better tire wear than them, and we started on ultra soft, and our plan was to do an ultra soft and double soft, so a two-stop strategy. Our guess would be that they started with super softs because they probably had worse tire wear than us, and then they would double stop with 2 softs and 1 super soft. But Kieran Chadwick is heading into the pits on lap 26, ending lap 26. So let's see if he's getting another set of softs and trying to get to the end with those 23 laps, or he's just 3-stopping, as we see Phil Kraus right behind him. And this is rFactor, which you see we have quite a comfortable lead, so everything's going quite good at this moment. I mean, the whole race until now, it's just been close to perfect in terms of strategy, driving, no mistakes. And let's see what tires did Kieran put. If the cameraman switches the camera. At the moment we're still on our second stint, which we haven't finished yet. So is rFactor, then again the driver behind us, which is our main target to beat, you know? Like he's leading the championship, and that's the guy you wanna beat if you wanna win the championship. And I'm not sure the cameraman's gonna show us Kieran, so I'm just gonna spoil that. He's gonna be doing a 3-stop because he just entered the pit and put some set of super softs. So there's no way he can finish the race with super softs, and he's already done 2 stops, so he has to do another stop. And he's about 20 seconds, I believe, yeah. So he's right about 20 seconds, which is not enough to undercut us. But as I said, our main rival is rFactor, which is around 7 seconds behind us, which is good, because I don't think, unless we do some mistakes, he's not gonna close that gap. There's no way. I mean, we had similar pace. If you compare 2 cars with similar pace, it's very difficult that one car closes a 7-second gap with another car that has a very similar pace. That's what I mean. So at this stage we're on the last laps of our stint, just trying to keep it consistent and maybe push a bit more on our end up, I don't know, we'll see. As we're gonna see now when Craig and Kieran cross the start-finish line to distance, and see if Kieran's undercut's working. I mean, after all, I don't think it's working because he will have to do one more pit stop than us, but he just got around between 2 and 3 seconds, which is quite a lot considering that the pit delta is around 16-17 seconds. So he's just 17 seconds behind us, which is probably enough after this lap, even if we pit to undercut us, but we'll see. I think we're gonna pit this lap, because as we're on the top left of the screen, we're showing how consistent the second stint has been. I mean, we basically went from 19.9s to 20.3s, like 0.2 gap within the 17 laps of the stint, excluding the out lap and the in lap, of course. As I said, we're heading into the pits. Maybe to cover from Kieran undercut, maybe it just was our strategy, who knows. rFactor doesn't respond to our pit stop, which is, I wouldn't say weird, but if he wants to close that gap, yeah, he can gain a 1 lap fresher tire advantage, but I don't think that's gonna be such a difference with soft tires. As we see that we exit the pits right behind Kieran Chadwick. And yes, as we confirmed before, he's on super soft tires, so he has to pit again. We don't, unless something happens, but our plan was a 2-stop, so he has to pit again. We don't. Let's just forget about him and do our laps. Smoothly consistent. that's it. Like, you don't really need to focus at all with Kieran right now, because if he's gonna stop again, like, there's no way he's gonna get back 17 seconds in 19 laps, 20 laps. I mean, he could, but it's highly unlikely, given that we've been so consistent with the soft tires. And at some point there's gonna be the crossover between the super soft and the soft tires, so he's gonna lose time at some point. Besides, and he's not 1 second lap quicker, at least maybe at that stage, but not the whole stint. So as we skip to lap 36, 37 now, and we see that the gap hasn't grown that much. I mean, it has grown a bit, but he hasn't pulled away. I can tell you that he pulled away like around 2.5 seconds, and the gap didn't grow more than that, so we're at currently 1.6 behind him. And rFactor it's a bit closer, 4.2 seconds behind us, which we could say it's a bit worrying, but at this stage we know that we had the base to keep it consistent till the end of the race, so there wasn't any point of worrying about Craig, at least not yet, unless he got to below 2 second gap or something like that. As you can see that at the moment Kieran's tires are completely dead. He did a mistake one of the previous corners, and we're right behind his rear wing. He's actually holding us up a little bit, but there's no point on going crazy at this moment. Yes, we can lose 1 second with Craig and let that gap down to 3 seconds, but still 3 seconds when you're very consistent with some tires versus a car that's supposedly consistent as well, and it's not really faster than you, like similar pace. 3 seconds, that's quite a lot. 3.5 seconds, so he got us like 0.6 seconds this lap, which, considering that we got held up by Kieran, isn't that bad. As there's 12 laps to go, so our tire wear was as expected, so at this point you just need to keep driving consistently. Our third stint wasn't as consistent as our second stint, but it was good enough. We kinda commented that later on the race. As you can see right now how smooth we're taking these fast corners, especially because you don't want to overheat your front left tire, and you also don't want to overheat the rear tires, because if you overheat the most worn tire, which in this case is the front left, or you overheat the rear tires, you're just dead. Like, you're gonna lose so much time. As we skip to lap 47, 48 now, 2 laps to go, and we see that the gap's still the same. Like around 8-9 laps or 10 laps have gone by and the gap's still the same, so we're spot on target. Like, we're keeping the same gap with the car behind us. So he hasn't been able to close on us, which is perfect, as we do a little mistake here. We need to lift up a little bit more than usual, but it's only 2 laps to go, so as long as tires don't drop off, there's no way we lose this, right? Obviously, at this stage of the race, you notice a bit of tire wear, but because the car is so low on fuel, it's quite... I mean, the sensation isn't that bad, that's what I mean. You can feel that you have a little bit more worn tires, but it's not that bad. I mean, you can almost see the same lap times as the first laps of the stint, unless you pushed out those laps. And we're starting the last lap of the race, as you can see, like, we pretty much have the same distance within us and rFactor 3.5. And Kieran is far behind, so not much, but he's not close enough to even challenge Craig, which which means that our strategy was perfect. We pitted at the right time, we made the undercut work, and we just managed the distance till the end of the race. As we can see on the top left of the screen, that if you compare it to the second stint, this stint wasn't as consistent as that second stint, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, there were some laps that Craig was closing a bit too much, so we had to just do a faster lap to like make him clear that he's not gonna close that 3 second gap or 4 second gap. So we just pushed one lap, relaxed again, keep it consistent, and yeah, those two last laps, like there's no, they aren't important at all if you're half a second slower. So we take this win around Hungary. Craig Baxter finishes P2, and Kieran Chadwick completes the podium, which means that we are gaining 7 points to Craig Baxter on the championship, which could be better, but still good. We're not losing points with him, and we're gaining points to him. So, as you can see, we are currently on second place, 16 points behind the leader, Craig. So that's quite a big difference, but it's not. I mean, it's big, but you never know. It's still 5 races to race, so anything can happen. And we have a comfortable lead towards the third place, which I'm not really concerned because, of course, the target is to win the championship. But anyways, we are on a 2 race win streak, which is good. We made back 8 points plus 10, 18 points to Craig the last 2 races, so that's pretty good. Which means that if we keep this rhythm of winning races, we can catch him soon enough before the season ends, which that's our main target. And next race is gonna be Spa, which is gonna be interesting to set up the car for Spa. And we'll see you guys there. Have a nice day, and remember to not try to replicate my driving because it's quite peculiar. Bye.